Welcome to Beyond the Goal. I'm Coach Mike Gottfried, and I'm your host today for the 4th of July special. And my guests are Bret Simmermacher, Chair of the Sports Coaching at the United States Sports Academy in Mobile, Alabama, Daphne, Alabama. TJ Rosandich, the President of the United States Sports Academy. And what we're going to do today, gentlemen, and for the audience, we're going to honor America, honor the 4th of July. And I wrote down some things here, just thinking about the 4th of July and thinking about memories I had. But what we celebrate today was we celebrate God the Father, because He made us. He made this country. He made the world. We celebrate our history. Without your history, you really don't know where you came from or where you're going. We've had so many leaders and so many people fight for freedom in our country that we honor our history, our nation, born in the United States. Lord, I'm so thankful that I was born in the United States. And TJ, who's traveled all over Europe and other countries, is going to share a little bit about that later. Family. You know, when you think of the 4th of July, you think of your family. You think of growing up, my grandmothers and uncles and aunts, and would all get together. And so I honor the family. We honor our freedom, because we can't take that lightly, because God gave us a freedom, and our country is based on freedom. We honor our servicemen and women today that fought for our freedom, fought in wars and fought in battles and gave their lives, and the families of the servicemen and women. They could be posted in Afghanistan right now, or in Iraq, or some other country. So we bless them and we honor them. We honor our faith. We have the faith of this country, the leaders who at different times were in trouble, and people pressured them to change, but they stayed strong. We honor and we bless our president, Donald Trump, and all our leaders. And one leader I want to bless and honor is Jeff Sessions, our Attorney General. He's from Mobile, and we love him, and we're so happy. And we bless that we can pray and go to church. A lot of places, and TJ was talking about places he has been to that you couldn't practice your faith. We have that opportunity. We are blessed. We thank the Lord in heaven. As a kid, I can remember, Bret, a parade in Crestline, Ohio, bands and the soldiers and the flags, and I just got excited on that day because we were a part of honoring America. And then there were baseball games that day. I can't ever think of a 4th of July without playing some game or baseball. And but so it's a day to honor. And I say this, and I'm going to go to Bret first. We honor America, but we also, the Bible tells us to bless Israel. So we bless Israel today and their freedom, and we stand behind them, because the Bible says in Genesis, the Lord said, I'll bless those that bless Israel, and I'll curse those that curse Israel. So we want to bless them. Bret, you got a big position at Sports Academy in Daphne, Alabama. What do you remember about the 4th of July as a kid? Or
I remember back in Crestline, Ohio, as you spoke of, the parades, the family picnics, And also our town back in my era had a carnival slash exciting time out at the Little League fields and the Pony League fields. They'd have like a haunted house or...
It was almost like everybody from the town came together.
Everybody came in there. They did the Huckleberry Finn fishing contest. There was all kinds of different things associated with the 4th of July. And then as I grew older and becoming a military member, it became even more special.
Oh, that's important. Tell us about what it meant to you when you were in the military.
You know, it was very, very honorable. You felt all the thanks and the gratitude from those around you. They would have things on base specifically for the military members and the ones abroad and everywhere. It was just an exciting time, and it has even carried over now since I've retired. You know, when they walk by in parades and you stand and you give the respect to the flag, and it's just an exciting time on the 4th of July every year.
TJ, I was thinking about when Bret was talking about that, if there's a soldier on the plane I'm on right now, I'll make sure I go up and say thank you to him, because I see so many people thank him. And I think not only the soldiers, men and women, policemen, firemen, state highway patrolmen, that's so important. But you've traveled all over the world. As the president of the United States Sports Academy, you've had dealings with world leaders all over the nation. Your father, Tom Rosandich, his parents and your grandparents came here as immigrants.
Yes.
And they love this country. And Tom has done so much. He's been instrumental in the Sports Academy, but also he loves this country. So
absolutely.
Talk about him a little bit.
Well, he is the individual that had founded the Academy. And part of his early seasoning, as you were, where he was accumulating the ideas to make that happen, was when he was the national coach in Indonesia for the national track and field team. But he was elevated to the senior coach position by the Minister of Sport, so he was supervising other coaches from all around the world. But what I remember about the 4th of July from that time, I was basically a kid. I lived in Jakarta for 4 years between age 8 and 12, and going to the embassy was always something special. We didn't live in an American compound. We were living in the sports complex. Actually, my neighbors were Russians, Czechs, East Germans. But going to where the American club was at and going to the embassy was always very, very special. And the American community would always come together to celebrate that. And people, American expats living abroad, understand that. When I was older, young in my professional career, I spent 8 or 9 years in Saudi Arabia, a year in Bahrain, in the Middle East. I was there through the first Gulf War. I had a ringside seat to the Patriot missile batteries in Riyadh. But it was the same thing. We always found a way to celebrate the 4th of July. And I would bring my family to the U.S. Embassy. And it wasn't always about hot dogs or what have you, but there was a deep seated sense of patriotism. We could compare and contrast the two societies, as very few people have the opportunity to do so. And it would simply underscore all the more the blessings that we have being Americans in this country. And it always means something when you're driving through foreign capitals. I know exactly where the U.S. Embassy is in Kuala Lumpur. It's on one of the main drive-through, and I always see the flag. I know where it is in Beijing, and I always feel a stirring when I can look at the flag. And I share something with Bret. I was also in the military. We spoke of my father. He was a Marine officer, was wounded in Korea, and finished out a career as a reservist. Myself, I spent time as a paratrooper and in the U.S., and I spent 2 years teaching race relations and equal opportunity in the Army in Germany. And but that too is, if you think about it, think about an entity like the U.S. Army striving for equality for within their own organization. I think that is something that sets America apart as well.
I think about, you told us some stories earlier. We can take for granted some things. You know, I think maybe our younger generation coming up, and I'm not speaking against them or speaking for them, but I think if you forget your history, you're in trouble. And how you got to this point and you fought. But you said something interesting to us earlier, that you said, hey, I was Catholic over in a foreign country and I couldn't practice my religion.
Yes.
And so, not naming the country, but talk about that, because our churches are open any day we want to walk into them and pray.
And you have the absolute freedom in this country to choose the religion of your choice, whatever moves you or strikes a responsive chord in your heart. That is something that you can do. And I suppose that the old adage that something denied you makes it, you know, that much more attractive or that much closer to you. And it was something that you would miss. And in fact, when I did get home and my children were not able to practice their faith except when they were home on leave, I put them in parochial school in the United States. I figured they had ground to make up. And to me, that was very, very important. I think that there's one other thing, and I would encourage the audience to go and take the time to read what happened to the signers of the Declaration of Independence. Those brave men, well off, well respected, landed gentry, who felt the need to declare their independence really from a remote and oppressive government across an ocean, pledged their lives, their property, and their sacred honor. And if you read what happened to the vast majority of those individuals, killed, wound up penniless, all of their assets taken, their homes burned down, their kids were killed. If you really want to know what independence really cost or what it was all about, do yourself a favor and just look. You can find it on the web so easily these days, but that would be worth reading.
9/11 came, and I think about our country. And that day I was traveling, and I got in late that night before the 9/11 day, and so slept in a little bit, and my wife Mickey came and got me up and to show me what was happening. And I was so taken back by what happened. And then out of that, the Congress and Senate members were singing the national anthem on the steps, and they came together. But they're so divided now. And another thing I want to say, I'm not going to get political, but I believe there's a lot of presidents during my time that I wasn't fond of, but they were the president. So you honor the position. I think when I see some things happen in our country, division, divisiveness, George Soros putting a lot of money into people boycotting and fighting, and they're throwing things through a window. That's not our country. And our leaders got to come together. I believe in Donald Trump. I believe in the slogan, "Making America Great Again." I believe in all these things. And so I'm hoping our country can come together more. Anything you want to say about, you were in the military?
Yeah, I was in during 9/11. I actually was in a National Guard unit that supported that effort by going over to Saudi Arabia and working over there for 3 or 4 weeks. And it's an eye-opening experience. But when you're over there and you're in that theater, you're thinking about all the people that you're representing in this great country. And, you know, it brings back those memories as we celebrate, you know, our Declaration of Independence on July the 4th. And kind of piggybacking off of what Dr. TJ said, I've been to Philadelphia and been to the Liberty Bell and went and viewed a lot of those things when I was there. And I would encourage anybody to do that type of thing.
The Virginia Tech basketball coach, Buzz Williams, did an interesting thing last year. You've
seen
nodding
it.
your head.
I've seen it online.
You're nodding your head so you see it. I came in there, we were doing shows at that time, and so I told Santos, who runs this TV station for Garth Kuntz, that we need to have this on. I said, what he did is he brought into his basketball team 15 members of his basketball team. He brought in soldiers and men and women, and he lined them up, and they talked about fighting for freedom. And he said to his team, I don't want you ever to sway back and forth when this national, I want your hand on your heart. And I want you to know what freedom costs a lot of people. And so when the national anthem's being played, do not take that lightly. You saw it.
Truly. And it was a very, very moving thing. I think that one of the aspects of that is that many of the individuals that he brought in were disabled veterans. And so you could see with your own 2 eyes the price that they had paid to do so. I think that there are issues with the country. I think about freedom of speech, and of all of the divisiveness that is going on now. To me, I think that is one of the most disturbing aspects, that I will shut down your right to free speech. That is so far removed from the fundamental values. I mean, that's in the First Amendment. That's how important that was. That it is something that needs to be addressed. And as an educator, as someone that is in higher education, I would certainly be remiss if I did not take this opportunity to call upon my fellow educators to address that as an issue, because so much of it does have its roots in what is occurring on campuses around the country today.
We made a mistake in this country when we took prayer out of the schools. Mm-hmm. That was a big setback, and because again, once you're praying, you love this country, and the country is so important, and the freedom has been given to us by the Lord. And I think about the national anthem when it's being played. I mean, there's many times I stood on the sideline of games and I thought about all the people that helped me get to this moment, and I'm thankful. But I wouldn't have wanted to grow up anywhere else. I love my little town I came from, 5,000 people, still go back, still love it. But America, there's something about it. But there are the detractors that want to bring us down, and they want to divide. And if you can divide a country, you can take it over. Go ahead.
Think about it for a moment. How many people are trying to break into the United States?
Yes.
It's because what we have in this country. And they're literally knocking down the doors to try and find a way to get here. And that wouldn't be the case if there was not something special about America.
Don't you believe, and Bret, I'll ask you this and then piggyback to you, don't you believe, I believe in this country you can do anything you want to do. Now, my father died when I was 11, and my mom didn't work. She was a housewife, 3 boys. And so she had to go find a job. She found a job as a waitress and supplied enough of our needs. And but this country affords you the opportunity to do anything you want to do. And any dream you have, like if somebody has a dream to go to the sports academy, they can go. They can do it.
Mm-hmm.
And
freedom.
That's, you know, as you mentioned, I'm from the same small hometown as you are, 5,000 people. Everybody in that little community knew that the Simmermacher brothers wanted to go on and play major college athletics. You know, if I would have listened to all the naysayers, I would have never done what I've done today. And I was blessed to have a good family and a father and a mother that promoted education.
That's another point, the breakdown of the family in our country. We have to do something about that. The fathers that are leaving the children, they can't do that.
Well, I concur with everything that you said. Really, it is all about opportunity, and I think that is what has been so attractive to everybody that is trying to, you know, come to America, is the fact that it is a land of opportunity. You can go as far as your God-giving ability will carry you, so long as you have the drive and the motivation to realize your potential. And whatever you say about society at large, there's resources that are made available to those that may not have them within their family or what have you, for anyone that really wants to pursue the opportunity. They're there.
And we can make mistakes, and we make mistakes. But because Jesus died on the cross for us, his blood erases those sins. And so you can do anything you want to do. I want to hit on one more thing. We're about out of time here. The quarterback at the 49ers didn't stand for the national anthem. I have a feeling about that, being a coach. If he wants to do that in his dress clothes, he can do that. But if he's a member of a team, San Francisco 49ers, disappointed in them. I really am. Because they should have stood up and said, hey, you don't represent just yourself when you put that uniform. You represent the San Francisco 49ers in this country. When you kneel down, you're bringing us right with you, and we don't want to go there. And I'm glad that didn't catch on, and it'll be a thing in the past, hopefully in the future. But it's freedom of speech, right?
But it is freedom of speech, but I think that goes along with everything else associated with athletics in general. When you become a part of a team, like you said, it's not only you're representing yourself, your family, your community, the name across your shirt, the campus that you walk on every day.
In a team, you know, here's where I want the families to know that you're a team. 2 or more make a team. So if it's a single mom and a son, you're a team. If it's 5 kids and a mom and dad, you're a team. You have your name, right? Instead of Bulldogs or Spartans, it's Gottfried or Smith or Ellis or whatever it is. That's what we're missing a little bit. Anything finally, TJ?
Well, to me, I was disappointed that the head office, and I'm not even going to say whose name it is, except you can say Roger that, should have stepped in.
Yes.
There's a fundamental basis there, and it's called the law of associations. And it's simple. You play in my game, you play by my rules. And he could have worked with the Players Association and set a rule on that. But I think that the organization as a whole has been damaged by that. And so he failed in his responsibility in stepping in.
They have.
The viewership is down because that little demonstration did not, by any stretch, resonate with their viewers.
We thank you for watching. I'm going to make a short prayer here on this weekend. Lord, I just ask you to bless this country, provide for this country, safety from shore to shore, the mountain areas, the borders, Lord, protect our borders, protect our leaders, Lord, give them wisdom in all they're doing, and bless Israel also, Lord, in Jesus' name. And I want to thank TCT for providing this opportunity. Writer, supporter, call TCT P.O. Box 1010, Marion, Illinois 62959 in Canada. TCT P.O. Box 1220, Fort Erie, Ontario L2A 5Y2. God bless you. Have a great 4th of July. Honor this country. Honor your God the Father. And have a great day and have a great weekend, and bless you and your family. Thank you.